this time setback, but we will manage it the way it comes. We'll have a set of speeches, starting with the congregational leader of the Missionary Sisters of Africa, Lead of Africa, followed by the Superior General of the Missionaries of Africa. Then we have the leadership of
they do not find because they look for them outside of him. End of quote. Lavigerie ensured that the missionaries received a strong spiritual formation, grounding their work in prayer and the teaching of the church. He believed that the missionary activities should flow from the deep relationship with Christ and commitment to living out the gospel in the daily life. He says, I quote him again. Brought them well into the mold of St. Ignatius. Lavigerie was with Christian teaching, defending the dignity of a human person. As he kept saying, it was about for one's love, but above all, for the neighbor's love. For we are all created in the image and likeness of God. He worked tirelessly to raise the awareness and support for the anti-slavery movement, both in Africa and Europe. We all know his very dear a phrase that he used often to illustrate the deep passion and compassion to fight against the slavery. He kept saying, I am a man, and injustice towards others revolts my heart. Both we, Msola, and the missionaries of Africa, under Lavigerie's guidance, we continue to play a role in anti-slavery campaign in the reality of modern slavery and human trafficking. This work is a direct reflection of Cardinal Lavigerie's commitment to social justice and human dignity. The other point that I see very clear in him, he was a visionary on the role of women as apostles. He was a man of vision and took all the means to realize this dream. His decision of founding a female congregation reflects his commitment to the mission and the value he believed in. He had a vision of women's role in the missionary work and their needed contribution in the universal church. Cardinal Charles Lavigerie recognized the unique contribution that women could make to missionary work. He saw out to women and children who might be more accessible to female missionaries. This vision led to making possible the Islam-Christian dialogue, that time in Nigeria, an approach that is still needed in our world today. Through the founding of the Mission Sisters of Our Lady of Africa, Cardinal Lavigerie expanded its missionary vision to include the vital role of women in the church's evangelization mission. The evidence is in the remarkable missionary work carried out by the Msola all over the world, who have contributed, for example, formation of 22 female religious congregations in the African continent, who are playing full role there as their part in the universal church. He encouraged us to be nothing but apostles. And he was an apostle of all things to all people. The Mission Sisters of Our Lady of Africa and the Missions of Africa have continued his legacy, working across Africa and the African world wherever may be found. We continue to embody the values and the mission that Lavigerie championed. He wanted us to learn the language and culture wherever we are. In doing so, he wanted us to be able to draw closer to the people we are sent to. And this is the living of interculturality, which begins with our intercultural communities. Learning other languages and culture is essential for effective practice of intercultural living. It embraces communication, it fosters cultural sensitivity, it builds trust, and it helps to pass the good news with the people in their culture and the language that is dear to them. Lavigerie insisted and encouraged that missionaries learn the local language and customs, seeing this approach as essential for the effective ministry, for demonstrating Christ's love and respect for all people. His visionary guidance about learning people's language and customs is not just a practice, but it is a necessary. It is a profound act of love and respect, and in fact, it is a mutual enrichment. Every culture has something valuable to offer, as well as our charisma. We also enrich ourselves by learning from those we serve and with whom we work with. Allow me to conclude here to say, for me, Cardinal Lavigerie is a visionary, Christ-centered leader, a founder who demonstrated profound faith and spiritual insights, guided by the deep bond with Christ and the teaching of the Church. Lavigerie had a clear, divinely inspired vision for serving God and humanity. I see him as a man characterized by strong moral principles, but also a man with a prophetic voice, compassion, and commitment to living out the teaching of Christ, a missionary heart, and a zealous apostolate. Thank you. May this symposium that we are going to live together remind us and help us to deepen appreciation of the legacy of our beloved founder, Cardinal Charles Lavigerie. Thank you. Have a good day with many blessings.
Thank you.
Cardinal Charles Lavigerie.
So now, my dear brothers and sisters, follows the address of the Superior General of the Missionaries of Africa. We kindly invite Father Stan Lubungo to come forward for his address.
Senior Helene Biamba is missionary sister of Our Lady of Africa, originally from DRC. She is missioned at Goma, DRC. Senior Ashes Yakshin, the congregation formed by missionary sisters of Our Lady of Africa.
Dear brothers and sisters, good afternoon. I would like to start by thanking all those people who have taken their time to come and join us today, and all those who have put their time into the preparations of this significant moment for us missionaries of Africa and the missionary sisters of Our Lady of Africa. Since last year, on the 31st of October, we got onto this journey of commemorating the bicentenary of the birth of our founder, Cardinal Lavigerie. We have taken time in our communities to discover him more through the reading of the precious texts that he had left for his sons and daughters. What we are doing here today illustrates that the Cardinal does not only belong to the missionary sisters of Our Lady of Africa and to the missionaries of Africa, but that he is actually a giant for the mission in Africa. So I'm happy to be here and to be in front of you to address you these few words. I see Cardinal Charles Lavigerie as having left us a legacy of faith and human dignity, especially for the continent of Africa. When we remember our founder, we look back with gratitude at a life passionately dedicated to God and to the peoples of Africa. Lavigerie was not only a man of his time, but he was also a prophet whose vision continues to bear fruit across our beloved continent more than a century after his death. Cardinal Lavigerie was a man of striking contrasts, strong and determined, yet a deeply prayerful and visionary leader. As missionaries of Africa and missionary sisters of Our Lady of Africa, we see in him a man of passion. He lived a fourfold passion: a passion for God, for the church, for humanity, and most visibly, a passion for Africa. This passion shaped every decision he made, every mission he undertook, and every community he founded. His love for Africa was not simply the fascination of an explorer. It was the love of a missionary who saw in our continent a people beloved of God and destined to flourish in the gospel. From the very beginnings of his episcopal ministry in Algiers and later in Tunis, he actually made it clear that he wanted to die and be buried in African soil. He once wrote, "I love everything about this Africa." And he proved it by refusing more prestigious positions in Europe to remain where his heart had found its home. Lavigerie's passion was nourished by a broad and open vision of the church and salvation. He saw God's grace already at work in every person of goodwill. This conviction, I think, led him to adopt patient methods of evangelization, such as the long catechumenate. For him, mission meant respect, dialogue, and friendship. A vision that still inspires our missionary approach today. Our founder's love for Africa was not only spiritual or historical, it was profoundly humanitarian also. We know that he saved countless orphans during the famine in Algeria, and perhaps, as the nuncio recalled it, and Sister Angela just emphasized this point, one of the most striking aspects of Lavigerie's mission was his courageous fight against slavery. And I think Africa owes him a lot in this aspect. At a time when many remained silent, he raised his voice in European capitals, denouncing the slave trade and calling public opinion and governments to action. His preaching and tireless advocacy helped shift the conscience of the world and gave Africa a powerful ally in the struggle to end one of the most brutal systems of exploitation. Behind his great works stood a spiritual life, a deep one. Those who lived with him often found him quietly praying in his chapel, rosary in hand, or offering Mass with intense devotion. His episcopal motto was Caritas, charity. His passion for Africa was not a passing sentiment. It was the fabric of his life. He founded the Missionaries of Africa and the Missionary Sisters of Our Lady of Africa so that that love of God might be shared in every corner of the continent. Today, as we commemorate the bicentenary of his birth, we give thanks for the many blessings that flow from his vision, especially a church that is very live and growing. This living church of Africa and the countless lives transformed by his mission, as far as I am concerned, remain a clearest testimony of his holiness and to the enduring value of his work. We have an apostle in him, and our prayer is that we may be inspired but by that same missionary zeal that pushed him to fight for Africa. I thank you for your attention as I wish us a good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much to Father Stan Lubongo, the Superior General of the Missionaries of Africa. Once again, let's put our hands together for him. Now we invite the Chancellor of Tangaza University to come forward.
The Superior General of the Missionaries of Africa, Father Stanley, and your council, the Superior General of the Sisters of Our Lady of Africa, and your council, all you sons and daughters of Cardinal Charles Lavigerie, and all of you invited guests, good afternoon. I stand here on behalf of Tangaza University. I represent the 22 congregations that own Tangaza. And as you have heard already, I also work as the Chancellor of the university. It is fitting that we are holding this celebration here in this hall today in Tangaza, built by our pioneer missionaries, of which you are part of. It is also a testimony of your contributions and support towards Tangaza University in our work for the mission of the Church here in Africa and beyond. It is therefore important that this sense of unity, the ability to plan for a shared future as a congregation, even at a moment when the Church seems to be torn apart by the challenges of our times. And while there are many moments that reveal that particular side of this extraordinary man we celebrate today, Cardinal Charles, this extraordinary man of God, whom I will refer to as a pioneer, a dreamer, and a prophet, he played a leading role towards the abolition of slave trade, as you have heard. Quoting from his autobiography, I quote, written by Pope Leo XIII on the 27th of October, 1888. Urged on by charity, we have assigned to you a great and difficult task, namely, that you should apply every means in your power to put an end to the enslavement of so many oppressed people in Africa. This task which you have undertaken so willingly clearly concerns the very salvation of humanity. This is the man we celebrate today, a pioneer, a dreamer, a prophet in his own rank. Today, his daring experiment has borne unexpected fruits. The missions once established on distant soils, especially Africa, have nurtured into an authentic mission stations, rooted in the Catholic tradition and local culture. On this note, my prayer for you as sons and daughters of Cardinal Charles, that you may continue to carry on with the dream, with this vision, and that this vision may not die with you. Perhaps I would like to challenge all of you. If Cardinal Charles had to come here right now, standing in our midst, what would he say? Would he say, my daughters and sons, you have disappointed me? Or would he say, well done, my daughters and sons? That is food for thought for you, more so as you look forward to the future in a more difficult age. To finish, I would like to, in a special way, again, appreciate the support that you have extended to Tangaza University. This morning we had a short meeting with the Superior General and his council, sharing together the possibilities of seeing how we can harness our resources together in order to keep Tangaza going to the future. We don't take this for granted. I thank the Provincial Father Oswald for the support that we have always shared together in the board, and we continue to pray that this shared vision may grow stronger and stronger and stronger. And as the Latin says, ad anno multos, add many more years. Thank you.
Let's give once more a big round of applause for Father Edward, the Chancellor of Tangaza University. Thank you very much. My dear brothers and sisters, now we'll start the different talks. We'll start with the first talk, which is entitled Cardinal Charles Lavigerie and the Foundation of Women Congregations. We'll have two speakers. The first speaker is Sister Hélène Mbuyamba on the vision of Cardinal Charles Lavigerie. Sister Hélène Mbuyamba is a missionary sister of a leader of Africa, originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo. She is in mission. She is at Goma, DRC. The second one is Sister Esther Wambui Gite on the action, the congregations formed by the Missionary Sisters of Our Lady of Africa. Sister Esther is a member of the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi, delegated by the Superior General, Sister Margaret Wahungu. Sorry for the pronunciation. Sister Esther is a general bursar of her congregation. So I invite both speakers to come forward. One will take a seat, and the other one, the first one, we give her talk. Let us follow attentively. Each speaker will have 15 minutes. Please, thank you.
Cardinal Lavigerie and the Foundation of Women Congregations. We cannot talk about this topic without going back to the source of Lavigerie's vision of the role of women in society and in the church. Let us quote at least two of his most striking statements taken from the little book entitled Thoughts of Cardinal Lavigerie. For the apostolate among pagan women to succeed, we must rely more on the prayers of Christian women than on all other means combined. Our Lord, the Prince of the Apostles, has defeated the devil everywhere, and he will also defeat him on this pagan soil. And who knows if it will not be through women that he will defeat him, according to the prophecy made at the beginning for all humanity. These quotations suggest that for him, the apostolate of women was more important than that of men, or at least that it was an indispensable complement to it. How was it possible to hold such a view in a historical context that limited the role of women to domestic and family tasks, such as housekeeping, motherhood, marriage, and raising children? It is known that in the mid-19th century, social and religious norms, themselves heavily influenced by the patriarchal system and conservatism, defined the role of women in society and in the church. The church encouraged Christian women to be, above all, pious and devoted, playing an important role in transmitting the faith within the family. Father René Xavier Lamé notes that, as a man of his time, Lavigerie greatly admired women as mothers and extolled their role as educators. He also admired women in the service of God, those who prayed, and those who cared for the sick. Regarding his mother, Father Lamé comments that Madame Lavigerie was pleasant, refined, and had an attractive personality, being both a homemaker and a woman of good society. Shows how convinced Lavigerie was of the importance that the home where children spend their childhood can have on their personality. François Renaud, in his book entitled Cardinal Lavigerie, Man of the Church, Prophet and Missionary, corroborates this idea by sharing that for Lavigerie, impressions from early childhood leave a permanent mark on personality and are decisive for life. It is in the home that women shape the society of tomorrow. Even those who never left their homes, except for specific and limited reasons, were still at the heart of their households. Only other women could reach them and help them fulfill their role as educators of their children. As we can see, Lavigerie was influenced to a certain extent by the ideas and beliefs of his time. However, as a man of faith, broad-minded and endowed with extraordinary vision and foresight, he understood the importance of women's apostolate among women and recognized their vital role in transforming society. The trigger for the vision. In 1856, Lavigerie became the first director of the Œuvre des Écoles d'Orient, work of the schools of the East. 4 years later, disappointment took him to Syria, where he organized relief committees to alleviate the suffering of Christians massacred and persecuted by the Druze. It was in this region that he was struck by the extraordinary influence that missionaries, especially nuns, had on Muslims. Sister Marie-Andrée du Sacré-Cœur, in the history of the origins of the congregation of the missionary sisters, for a remedy for their health problems. I saw them kiss their clothes with respect. I heard one of them tell me that one day, as she was walking among Muslims, she was stopped by a man of the people who said to her with curiosity mixed with respect, "Sister, when you come down from heaven, are you nuns dressed like this?" He saw that these nuns were respected and loved by everyone, even Muslims, in a region that had been destabilized by interreligious conflicts and massacres. François Renaud, in his aforementioned book, offers an insightful commentary on the issue in these terms. Working in a culture where women lived in seclusion, Christian nuns offered a new and liberating model of femininity. In addition, they could enter homes and meet with the women and girls there, something no man would ever have been allowed to do. Furthermore, nuns could take charge of the formal education of girls. Implementation of the vision. Lavigerie, Bishop of Nancy. In 1863, Lavigerie was appointed Bishop of Nancy. As such, he undertook to raise the level of education of the priests and sisters of the diocese because he was concerned about the education of girls. "It is women," he wrote to the Supreme Pontiff, "who, as mothers, are called upon to impart instruction and religious habits. If they do not have deep feelings of faith and piety, everything around them suffers." In August 1864, he insisted that all novices in teaching congregations, before beginning to teach, be submitted to an episcopal commission composed of clergymen to an examination of the same level as that of lay teachers. Episcopal diplomas issued by this commission would therefore be necessary to run even the humblest school in the diocese. In addition, Bishop Lavigerie did not hesitate to bring other congregations to his diocese of Nancy. He was still chaplain to the Augustinian Sisters of the Interior of Mary in Montrouge when he noticed the virtue and talents of a young nun, Mother Teresa de Jesus. He invited her to found a similar congregation in his diocese of Nancy. Mother Teresa de Jesus accepted this proposal and brought 2 of her companions with her. The 3 nuns saw providence guiding them in this calling, and in 1863 founded the Institute of the Daughters of the Assumption of Our Lady for the education of young people. On October 14 of that same year, Mother Teresa de Jesus took her perpetual vows at the bishopric of Nancy in the presence of Bishop Lavigerie. She was canonically elected Superior General of the new institute on the same day. It is clear that even before founding his missionary institutes, Lavigerie was convinced of the importance of the apostolic work of religious sisters. To the Mother General of the Sisters of St. Charles of Nancy, who had agreed to give him a community of sisters, he wrote the following on September 14, 1868. "Your daughters are truly missionaries, more useful and more effective than priests themselves, because of the more solid and lasting good they can do for children. They will initiate the true conversion of Africa in its most essential sector, that is, among women who will become mothers and the sources of Christian families. In 1886, Bishop Lavigerie clarified his thoughts on the apostolate of women in a letter to the members of the Association of Mary Immaculate for the conversion of pagan women, writing this. In general, people do not know what a pagan woman really is. If they knew, so many Catholics would devote themselves to such a necessary work. I say necessary because despite the zeal of the missionaries, their efforts will never produce sufficient results if they are not helped by women apostles among women. They cannot fulfill this ministry on their own. Only women can freely approach pagan women, maintain charitable relationships with them, heal their sicknesses, touch their hearts. This apostolate does not stop with women. Woman is at the origin of everything, since she is mother. Her children are what she makes them. She plants seeds in their souls that nothing can destroy, and which sprout despite all opposing forces. So, little by little, through women, we have the family, and through the family, society. Lavigerie's attitude towards the apostolate of religious women was unequivocal. Another example illustrates this well when he left Nancy for Algiers. He addressed the sisters of the Diocese of Nancy in his pastoral letter of March 29, 1867. I bless you, pious communities of women, admirable and touching models of piety, charity, and devotion to all who suffer, to all who weep, to all who are weak and humble. May God preserve for the diocese the crown of glory and honor that your works have fashioned for it. Lavigerie, Archbishop of Algiers, and the foundation of the Missionary Sisters of Our Lady of Africa. In June 1869, Archbishop Lavigerie announced the founding of two institutes, one for men, the Agricultural Brothers, who would later merge with the White Fathers, Missionaries of Africa, and the other for women, the Agricultural Sisters, who were the origin of the Missionary Sisters of Our Lady of Africa. These plans, which included missions throughout the world, were explicitly limited to Africa in 1877. Alongside the missionaries, the sisters of the African missions will continue for women what the priests do for men, that is, their orphanages and schools. Cardinal Lavigerie took pains to define and clarify the specific role of women in the apostolate on numerous occasions. As proof of this, he founded a society of sisters at the same time as that of the fathers. Speaking of the origins of the society of sisters, he added, "These are the good sisters I was referring to earlier when I said that it seems to me that in God's plan, women should be the most powerful missionaries to these poor African people. It is to them that it is to them that the sisters of the missions want to devote themselves entirely, raising their children, their sick, and helping their poor. A community of women, yes, I am talking about women, but Christian women. whose sole objective is to accomplish a task that men, even the most powerful and apostolic, have not succeeded in, namely, namely the conversion of unfortunate Africa. To further explain the specific role of women in missions, he wrote the following in the Bulletin de l'œuvre des écoles d'Orient in 1871. This community was founded with the aim of involving women in the apostolate among the infidel nations of Africa. Christian women who read us must have noticed the role that women have played so far in the providential spread of Christianity on earth. He went on to recall the role of the holy women of the gospel, accompanied by Mary, who followed Jesus on the roads, as well as the charitable ministry of widows and deaconesses in the early church. In the story of the origins, Sister Marie-Andrée du Sacré-Cœur reveals a passage written by the Cardinal himself on the governance of the society, in which he clarifies its specific character. The founder wrote this at a time when he wanted to give the Institute of the Sisters a specifically missionary character. The deletions in the text clearly show that he left us, in these few lines, some carefully considered ideas about what the ideal of the Sisters of the Mission of Africa should be from then on. The same as that of the missionaries' fathers, expressed in the rules of both institutes in identical terms, which remind the sisters as well as the fathers that they must live only for the salvation of the poor souls to whom God sends them, not shrinking from any difficulty, not even death, in order to spread the kingdom of God among the poor African women. The Cardinal exhortations to his doctors underscore the importance of the task he has set for them. For such an important and difficult work, perfect instruments are needed, truly apostolic souls, saints, women apostles. That is what you want to be for the church, following the example of the holy women who followed our Lord during his earthly life and who, after his death, spread his name through their faith, charity, and example. There were many difficulties along the way in realizing this foundation project. To resolve them, the Cardinal had planned to merge it with other congregations or to let it slowly die out. The biggest difficulty was the lack of knowledge and education among the vast majority of the sisters to lead their congregations and administer the schools. In 1884 and in June 1885, the Cardinal pointed out these shortcomings to Madame Marie Salome. I have not changed my opinion on the impossibility of your little society governing itself. He was not making these remarks lightly. You must know, he wrote to her again a month later, that it pains me greatly in every respect to see a society that I founded rendered unviable by the lack of capacity of the sisters who compose it, and who cannot find among themselves the elements of proper administration. I'm about to finish. Thanks to the firm determination of Madame Marie Salome and the intervention of the missionaries of Africa, there was neither merger nor suppression. After all, this idea was too much at odds with his vision of the sisters' apostolate. We know that Lavigerie wanted to see his doctors in Africa. On December 4th, 1884, he deemed it possible to send them to the sub-Saharan Africa. Sending the sisters to the interior of Africa is highly desirable. The mission will only be complete when the apostolic and charitable ministry of God's and his church envoys can be exercised among women as well as among men. In 1886, Lavigerie said, I have devoted the most active years of my life to laying the foundations of our society of missionaries. I wish to devote my old age, as long as God grants me life, to promoting what I believe to be even more important for the peoples of our Africa, the apostolates of the sisters. Okay, I'm jumping something. Just a word about the heirs of the vision, because the missionary sisters of Our Lady of Africa had been blessed with the opportunity to accompany 23 fledgling congregations until they became autonomous. They saw this responsibility as the fulfillment of the guidance given by their founder, Cardinal Lavigerie. Transform Africa through Africans who have become Christians and apostles. Lasting work could only be achieved by Africans, with missionaries serving merely as initiators. Added to this was Lavigerie's conviction regarding the importance of the female apostolate. At the end of this presentation, even though I have jumped to some good things, I am well aware that I have not covered all of Lavigerie's writing on the subject. However, I believe that what I have been able to share sufficiently demonstrates his vision of the role of women and religious women in missionary work. Their role is one of charity and humanization. Okay, maybe we can stop there.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sister. Thank you very much. A big round of applause. We are sorry that she has to jump because of interest of time. You know, the vision of Lavigerie, we can take days and days and hours to talk about it. And definitely we will have interest to follow it up. So thank you, sister. A big round of applause for sister. Now, I would like to just remind all of the speakers from this experience to strive to respect the 15-minute. It's for the interest of time for all of us, so that because we have so many speakers, try to be concise and short as much as possible within the 15-minute, within the 12 plus 3 minutes. So we now invite Sister, the second speaker, Sister Esther Wambui, to give us a talk on the action the congregation formed or trained by the Missionary Sisters of Our Lady of Africa. Sister, you are most welcome. We ask Sister Catherine to come forward to assist.
Good afternoon, pilgrims of hope. Together in prayer, I am standing here on behalf of our Superior General, Sister Margaret Wahongo, who has asked me to come and represent her. She was so passionate about this day, but she did not manage to come due to unavoidable issues. But she asked that she's with you, she prayed for you, and she asked all our communities to pray for you, especially this day, when we are celebrating our founder, that is Cardinal Charles. And so I'm going to share what Sister Margaret would have shared with you. And this is a journey of love and hope. We started with the Missionary Sisters of Our Lady of Africa, right from the initial stages, right from the beginning of our congregation, and that is the journey that we would wish to share with you. The journey that we have walked from the beginning up to this time, we are still walking with our dear sisters, and they have supported our congregation so much. So the first thing that I would want or would have wished to share with you, it is about the vision of our institute, the mission and the charism. We are not going to go down to the history of the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi, who were founded in 1953, but I'll just highlight our vision of the congregation, which is to guide its members towards a fuller Christian life and the perfection of charity manifested in the service to the church. The mission of our institute, to immerse among the people of God, bringing the good news of salvation, that all may have life and have it to the full. John 10:10. And our charism as a congregation of the Sisters of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Nairobi is that, guided by our Mother Mary, Queen assumed into heaven, and like our Mother Mary, we are called to be deeply rooted in the personal love of Christ, filled with the apostolic zeal among the people we serve as life givers of the good news of Christ, and also reading the signs of time. So we immerse among the people of God, and our founder founded this congregation so that as we immerse among the people of God, we bring the good news, and especially among the women, as well as reading the signs of time. So what I would want to begin this journey I have called the journey of love and the journey of hope with our dear sisters whom we call our mothers, the Musora sisters or the white sisters, is that this journey began with our founder. Our founder was inspired to start this congregation. And when in this inspiration, he went to Mother, the founder, the superior then, who is Mother Manjera. And Mother Manjera, together with our founder, helped us as a congregation. And it is through this time, that is in 1953, where Mother Winfred became the directress of the novice and also the Mother General of the congregation. And she, together with her companion, that is the Musora formators, did all they could to give the congregation a solid foundation. The sisters found a mother in Sister Winfred and even nicknamed her Sister Maito. This is now in the local language, and it means our mother. And Sister was greatly devoted, and she was the first superior general of our congregation. And the first novice mistress was Sister Louise Charles, who was appointed in 1955 to 1963 in this new congregation. Then we had Sister Christine, who became also a directress and in the formation. And as I have said, that this journey began in 1953 up to 1978. So we would say that the Musora sisters were the first formators of the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi. They formed this congregation. They shaped the congregational charism. I've shared our charism and also the identity. And they facilitated vocational and spiritual growth of our congregation. That is, they planted seeds of deep relationship with God. They were prayerful women, and they ensured that this was instilled as in the initial formation of our ASN congregation. And then they also helped in this spirit of immersing among the indigenous people they served, and this is what attracted the founder of Assumption Sisters, as it resonated well with the vision he had of forming a new congregation. In line with this spirit, the Assumption Sisters' charism underscores the principle of integrating and immersing among the people to whom we minister. Their commitment to their ministry modeled for us the value of personal responsibility and commitment to ministry, for which Assumption Sisters are known. They gifted the congregation with the first material property, which comprised of the farm in Thika, which we inherited, the congregation inherited, and also other ministries and communities which belonged to the white sisters. The sisters, the Musora sisters, were very hardworking, and they provided for their own upkeep by managing a farm which we now own in Mangu, Thika. They taught the sisters the farming skills, and they empowered the Assumption sisters with self-reliance skills. They knew that they would not be with the sisters for long, and so they ensured that they have taught the sisters on their skills for self-reliance, so that this congregation that they worked hard in the formation that would not come to derail. And then the Msola sisters were well versed with African culture and values, which they instilled to the ASN sisters as part of shaping the identity of African women religious. They provided and modeled leadership during the early stages, and they peacefully transited when they were sure that the congregation of the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi could stand without their presence. As we have seen that the first two superiors were from the white sisters, and they are the ones now who shaped the values of our congregation. They also facilitated the general chapters during the initial stages, and I have said that they gradually exited when they were comfortable that our congregation would stand on its own. They have continued to offer financial support to the sisters, even to date. And as I began is when I talked about this journey that we have walked with the white sisters, they have been greatly contributing to the formation of the young sisters, our formees in Thika, where they also contributed greatly to have the formation places. The Msola were firm and gentle, and they really ensured that religious life discipline defined the new sisters they were forming. Respect for Africans won the Assumption sisters' confidence and great love for them up to today. We call them our mothers. They left the ASN gradually, progressively to ensure continuity, and then they transitioned from their leadership, that is the Msola leadership, to ASN leadership, and they ensured that this was well done. And the Msola sisters, they continue to mentor the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi, and they ensure that the superiors, our superiors, attend their forums for congregation formed by them every year. Of course, this did not happen without challenges. There were challenges both sides, where the first girls admitted had education and could hardly speak English. Therefore, there was a challenge with language. There was also the issues of family and cultural beliefs on the side of ASN. And then some who got higher education left the congregation, an experience which frustrated the efforts of the white sisters towards empowering the new congregation to stand on its own, but they never gave up on this. With these challenges, there are also the challenges in helping the ASN to build community life with other tribes, accepting each other and embracing each other's culture. And also there was also the challenging socio-economic times during which the white sisters were beginning a new congregation. It posed economic challenges as Msola were expected to provide the bulk financial support to the new congregation. Allow me to mention some names of the sisters who served the ASN congregation. Here we single out the names of a number of Msola sisters who participated directly in the formation of this congregation. They included the following: Mother Manjela. She was the regional superior of the white sisters. And I had mentioned that she was approached by our founder. And when our founder shared the vision with Mother Manjera, that is when now our congregation began. And then we have Mother Winifred. Mother Winifred arrived from London for the important task of training the Assumption Sisters as mistress of the novices. And everyone called her in the Assumption Sisters, Maito, our mother, for her love and care to all. Then we have Sister Louise Charles. She was friendly and was nicknamed by the sisters Sister Wito, meaning our sister. And then Father Ma described her as friendly apostle of Christ, who put all her heart in the service of the new congregation. She was one of the early members of the White Sisters community at Holy Family Convent in Thika. Sister Louise was a pioneer formator of the Congregation of the Sisters of the Assumption of Nairobi. He guided the pioneer group of the congregation through difficulties and challenges at the beginning. Then we had Sister Johanna. She arrived on 1st April 1957 from Rome. With her, the White Sisters community for the Assumption Sisters novitiate was complete. She took charge of formation of the novices and postulants for and sewing, among others. She was very dedicated in ensuring that the aspirants, postulants, novices had all that they needed by the way of clothing. We had Sister Suzanne. In February 1961, she was assigned to work in postulate as an assistant to the mistress. She did different works as director of church. Her duties included driving the postulants and novices to Kilimambogo for medical attention. Sister Anastasia, she was appointed to the Assumption Sisters novitiate, which is in Karibaribi, Thika, to help in the work of formation. On March 8, 1964, she was appointed as novice directress, becoming the second directress of novices of the sisters. Again, we had Sister Christine. She reported at Karibaribi, that is on 22nd November 1967, and was appointed as an Assistant Superior General of the Assumption Sisters. On 1st of May 1968, she replaced Mother Winifred as the Superior General. So Mother Winifred was our first Superior General. So Sister Christine replaced her in 1968 and immediately embarked on preparation for the renewal of the old constitution in the spirit of Vatican II. At the end of 1970, handed over the leadership role to an interim 5-member leadership team comprising Assumption Sisters, Sister Marie Teresa Gashambi, who later became the first Superior General of the congregation, was the leader of the team. Sister Christine declined the use of the title Mother and proposed that she be referred simply as Sister, thus introducing the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi, the tradition of referring to the Superior General as Sister. Then we had Sister Maltine. Sister Tina was appointed the new novice directress to replace Sister Anastasia. Thus, she became the third novice directress at Karibaribi, Thika in 1968. We had Sister Maria Puriot. She was the last of the White Sisters to serve as novice directress for 2 years. She also helped to train the general bursars, and we have been the beneficiary of that training as it has been handed over to us by those bursars that were trained by Sister Maria, and also the local bursars for the formation centers and the Maria Goretti hostels, which are also in Thika. So Sister Maria introduced a uniform system of financial accounting. We had Sister Mary Seward. She served the administration office of the first elected leadership of the congregation as the General Secretary. She was especially instrumental in running the affairs of the congregation after the critical accident which happened in our congregation, which almost paralyzed the activities of the leadership team. Sister Mary Seward was very loving and supportive to the sisters, and to them, her love and care could only be compared to that of a grandmother to her grandchildren, the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi. These qualities earned her the fond name of Sister Gashosho. Her ministry to the congregation lasted between 1971 to 1979. All other unnamed white sisters who were in Kenya at that time of ASN Foundation also played a key role in supporting the growth of our congregation. We are indebted to those who remained working abroad and who prayed for the success of the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi congregation and participated in the growth of our congregation by sacrificing their material and spiritual support in various ways. Most of them are now in heaven. May God continue to reward eternal happiness. In conclusion, Assumption Sisters Congregation will forever remain grateful to the Musola for their role in bringing our congregation to birth. As we look back to history and identity of our congregation, we can confidently say that we share in the spirit and charism of the white sisters, as we talked about as in the introduction, where our founder shared in this vision and also with the founder of the white sisters. By accepting to collaborate in the founding of Assumption Sisters of Nairobi, and not only the Assumption Sisters, but other congregations in Africa, the Musola sisters have lived and still live the dream of their founder to be missionaries who would train Africans, who would in turn bring Christianity to the people of Africa. The ministry of the congregations founded by the Musola has impacted on evangelization of Africa greatly, and it has gone beyond boundaries. Through the mentorship of Musola, a whole generation of religious consecrated women is devoting their entire lives to the mission. Long live the spirit of Archbishop Charles. Long live Musola charism. And as the superior of ASN, that is Sister Margaret Wahongo, I quote the words of St. Paul in expressing our gratitude to Musola. I thank my God every time I think of you, and every time I pray for all of you, I pray with joy, remembering how you have helped to spread the good news from the day you first heard it right up to the present. Philippians 1:3-4. There go some images of our first Superior General. There is Sister Maria. I think you can be able to see through the screen. Yeah, our first Superior, the second Superior was a white sister, and also our Mother Superior, the first African Superior General, Sister Marie Gashambi. May she rest in. And with these remarks from Sister Margaret Wahongo, we want to wish you a very successful symposium and God's blessing as you carry on with the mission of Christ. God bless you.
Thank you, sister. Thank you for the beautiful presentation of the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi and for the Musola who was the first formators. A big round of applause to Sister. My dear brothers and sisters, now we are running short of time. We suggest to have 2 or 3 questions to these sisters, and then we will go for lunch. And then after we'll follow continue with the program, because we know by now if we continue talking, we'll be only physically here, but the Minister of Interior may be claiming something. So now is the time of questions. We'll just take few questions, 2 or 3, and then we'll break for lunch. Just be brief, and the answer should also be brief.
Thank you. My question goes to Sister Esther. Just a matter of curiosity. Can you tell us how many members you are and in which countries or communities you work? Curiosity. Very brief.
Yeah, one question I have one. I heard that you were called the agricultural sisters. I wish to know, is this name still relevant to you today? What is the fundamental reason of changing the name? And knowing that agriculture is experiencing a lot of challenges these days, how is your mission related to agriculture today? My question goes to the Musola and to the Assumption sisters, as the mother and the daughter can be the same. Thank you.
The third and last question. Third and last question.
Thank you. Sister Esther from Assumption Sisters of Nairobi. You said that Msola is still helping you financially, right? I just want to know, is it that Msola is still very generous, keeping helping you, or you yourself, are you thinking of going beyond that help and be independent forever? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have 3 questions. The number of the members of the congregation, the change of name, the link between agriculture and the vision or mission of your congregation, and the financial help from the Msola. So kindly be brief in your response, in your answers, please. Welcome.
Okay, thank.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Sister Rose Catherine. I'm a member of the Assumption Sisters of Nairobi, working in the office of the Secretary General. In the congregation, we are currently 210 members, professed members. We have 27 temporary professed members. We have 8 novices, 14 postulants, and 12 aspirants. Okay, we are currently working in Kenya, where we are working in 13 dioceses. We are working in Tanzania, in Jamaica, where we have 3 communities, and in Canada, where we have 3 communities.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question about the change of the name. At the very beginning, there were orphans, and they needed to eat. So the first sisters were called there to cultivate so that the orphans can get what to eat. In fact, our names has changed quite a lot. It has become the Sisters of the Mission of Alger and what maybe the sisters can help me. It has changed at least 3 or 4 times until we become Missionary Sisters of Our Lady of Africa. But at the beginning, it was connected to the fact that the mission was about raising the orphans, and then the sisters were cultivating.
Very good. The last question, the link between, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, sister.
Yes, we are mostly related with agriculture. One, the first sisters who joined the Assumption Sisters congregation, which was a very new congregation at the time, had no or little education. So by the time they were empowered with education, they had to do farming to sustain themselves. 2, the Musola sisters themselves were doing farming, and we could only get what they could teach us to farm to sustain ourselves. And to date, we are still doing the same. We still have farms, and we value farming for self-sustenance. 3, we have also learned that agriculture is a main way of even sustaining ourselves and training those who are coming. So we have never been called agricultural sisters. We remained as the Sisters of the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary of Nairobi, using agriculture as one of the tools of evangelization.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Let us give big round of applause for the sisters.
I think there is one.
There is another question,
yeah. And the issue of this one is a bit hot, I would say. Yeah, there is my brother there who was asking, are we still depending on the Musola sisters for help? Because I mentioned that they are still supporting us in the formation. And you see, when it comes to sustainability, they taught us since 1953 to become women who are self-reliant. So what is happening, they support us in the formation, and we also have extended the support to others. So we are in the liberation with the Musola sisters and the Assumption sisters. As much as they are supporting us on one end, we are also extending this support to on the other end. Not that we are not we have not become self-reliant. We are on the journey. You know, sustainability is a journey, is a process. Yeah, so we are supporting and they are supporting. Thank you so much. And God
thank you, thank you, thank you. So as they go back to their seats, let us just give them a big round of applause. It's a very, very enriching input that we received from you, from the congregations, and may God continue to bless your mission endeavors, and may those first sisters, our founder, those who are ahead of us in heaven, continue to intercede for us, those who are still here on earth. So what we'll do now, my dear brothers, we'll just pray and bless the food. Brothers and sisters, we'll bless the food, and then from here we go. And then we request that at 2:15, we have 30 minutes for lunch. And please don't run away. Don't go home. We stay up to the end. There are still very enriching, interesting input ahead for each one of us. So maybe we upstanding for the prayer to bless the blessing of the food. Father Serge will bless the food.
I don't see the food to bless, but I hope there is there. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Almighty God, we say thanks for the gift of life, for your love for us, and for the mercy. Thanks for the life of our founder, and the life we still experience today. Thanks for all our benefactors who have made that we are still alive and the mission is still going on. Thanks for all who contributed that we may have food to share at this moment. May you bless them, bless us, and bless this food. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Bon appétit. If there is no